To all the non-believers, I'm making.
What's up, y'all? This is Jay Varsity, and welcome to episode 64 of NBA Talk Finals Edition. And yo, I know this is really late, but this is my reaction and opinion from Game 4 of the NBA Finals, and we're gonna also be talking about my prediction for Game 5. But let's get on with Game 4. Game 4, it was a foregone conclusion that I didn't think the Raptors were going to lose their momentum going into Game 4. I really did not. I did not think that the Raptors were gonna fold as soon as they saw Klay Thompson. I really didn't believe it whatsoever, and I had no doubt in my mind that KD wasn't going to play Game 4. I had no doubt in my mind. Although Golden State came out and they did look a little more aggressive, at least in the first half. At least in the first half, they looked aggressive. But this is the craziest part. I knew something was up in this game, that Golden State was struggling so hard to score, and in the first half, they only had a 4-point lead. They only had a 4-point lead, and Kawhi Leonard was not letting Toronto fall big in this game. And something about this is how Boogie is just not right. He just makes this team a whole lot worse defensively. I know I'm not gonna get on him completely because he's coming off an injury with his quad and then also his Achilles, so he's had a bit of a rough year. So I'm not gonna get on him for that. But the Golden State Warriors in general, I don't want to hear no excuses. When it comes to the Warriors. This whole story about them being exhausted and all that. You had 9 days to prepare for these finals. You had 9 days. To prepare. And now we're hearing something about exhaustion when the team that was in Eastern Conference Finals that won 6 games is more hungry than they are. They're solely relying on Kevin Durant to return, and to me, that's going to be their downfall. And that's why I don't believe that the Golden State Warriors have a chance in this series. But on with the second half, Kawhi Leonard came out aggressive and scored 17 points in the third quarter. He was just straight attacking whoever he had as his defender, whether it was Sean Livingston, Alfonso McKinney, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green. It just didn't matter. Kawhi was just in that groove. It didn't matter what defense you threw at him. He found a way to score, or he found a way to get a teammate to open the score. And Serge Ibaka came out with a huge game. He put up 20 points, and he was finding his shot. He hit a 3 in the third, or maybe in the fourth, and he's getting down in the paint, dominating on the boards. And that box and one actually. You saw it again, and it actually did. It was actually successful. Like I said, I wouldn't depend on it, but whenever the Raptors have used it, it has been effective. It has been effective against the Golden State Warriors, and Kevin Durant's presence has really been shown with the Golden State Warriors and how much they defer and rely on him. But the Golden State Warriors, you saw the looks on their faces. They just looked like they could not keep up with the Raptors. The Raptors were playing physical. They were hungry. They were diving for loose balls, and Draymond Green was getting frustrated with the refs. So was Steph Curry. Klay Thompson was giving it everything he had to pull out this win. He was making shot after shot after shot, and it was just he just got to the point where he just couldn't finish carrying the load because Steph didn't have the greatest game. Steph came up short compared to his Game 3 performance. You saw the fatigue in Steph Curry. You just saw how ineffective the depth was for Golden State. They were just not effective. And then Kevon Looney coming back from what was supposed to be a series-ending injury. He took a chance on it, and he just wasn't that effective either. Ibaka just straight dominated him, and Marc Gasol, they were just they were a two-man wrecking crew when it came to dominating on the boards and dominating in the paint. Siakam was putting up easy buckets. The simple pick and roll was what was killing Golden State. A simple pick and roll. The Raptors were killing Golden State with pick and rolls. That was the craziest part. Lowry was straight picking the Warriors apart, and it clearly frustrated them. And defensively, they just don't look elite. They don't look elite, and they tried to rely on outscoring their opponents. And I know today Kevin Durant was announced that he was cleared to practice. But just because he's cleared to practice, that doesn't mean he's ready to play Game 5. I'm not betting on it that Kevin Durant's playing in Game 5. I'm not betting that Kevin Durant's playing Game 5. Because I seriously think he's not. Because there's something about that injury that is more serious than we think. I've been saying it all along, and they waited for the media to leave in order for Kevin Durant to practice, which means there's something up. There's really something up with Kevin Durant. I would not be surprised if they say that he's not playing Game 5, and I think this series ends tomorrow. This series will end tomorrow. Toronto is on a all-time high when it comes to the momentum. They're not afraid of Golden State. They will get in their face. They don't care. Kawhi doesn't care about Golden State now. He's just getting straight buckets. He is killing Draymond Green. And that whole statement about him being the greatest defender of all time is really starting to bite him in the butt now. It's really starting to bite him in the ass. Golden State is just straight getting murdered. Which is why I did not think that this would be like this. I didn't think Golden State would lose back-to-back home games. That was a shock to me. I had my hopes that Toronto was going to win, that Toronto was going to win these games, but not in this fashion. I didn't think that Toronto was just going to straight take Golden State's soul. I didn't think they were just going to suck their souls out in the third quarter, which is supposed to be their quarter. The quote-unquote third quarter Warriors turned into the third quarter Raptors because that's where they were killing them. They were killing them in the third quarter. The Raptors just look hungrier. It's just a flat out fact. The Golden State Warriors, they have relied so much on their starting lineup, and that when they're banged up, it shows their weaknesses. It shows their weakness. It just shows. I barely saw Jordan Bell in this. I barely saw Jordan Bell in Game 4. I barely saw Jerebko. It just shows. It just shows that Golden State is not that deep. And when they get banged up, they're in trouble. They're in straight up trouble. In Game 5, they are not getting out of Toronto with a win. I just don't see Golden State coming out with a win. I just don't. Toronto is on an all-time high, and they're deep, they're talented, they're athletic, they're shooting well. They're shooting very well. Danny Green has been shooting well in these finals. Fred VanVleet has been effective defending Steph Curry. Kyle Lowry has been a great floor general. Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka have been great getting down on the boards. Toronto has just been doing all the little things and doing all the dirty work and doing what it is to win a championship. Golden State is just relying solely on their talent to win it all. And sooner or later, talent is just not going to be enough. There's going to be a team that's going to have more heart, plus the talent that's going to come at you. And this is what's happening with Toronto. This is what's happening with Toronto. They're going at Golden State. They are not showing no fear. They're not looking at them as, oh my God, look at who they got on their team. They're looking at them like, yo, we made it to the finals, so obviously we're not pushovers. We're gonna come at you. We're getting in your face, and we're not gonna make this easy. And so far, Golden State, they're not handling it because they're down 3-1. And I don't want to hear nothing about Golden State making a 3-1 comeback. They're not making a 3-1 comeback. It's not happening. So all these posts I'm seeing about the only team that made a 3-1 comeback was the 2016 Cavs. It's not happening again. It's not happening. The Golden State Warriors are not going to pull a 3-1 comeback. Steph Curry is not that dude. He is not going to have the energy to pull a 3-1 comeback. It's just not going to happen. The Toronto Raptors, they're too physical. They're way too physical, and the IQ level on that team is way too high, and Nick Nurse is just not going to allow the Golden State Warriors to do so. I don't care who, like I said, even if Kevin Durant comes back, he's not 100%, which I doubt Kevin Durant will come back. Kevin Durant comes back, it's not going to make a difference. He's not going to be as effective. His presence might be but his overall game is not going to be as effective. I'm sorry, it's just not going to be as effective. And like I said, I will not be surprised if they say Kevin Durant is out for Game 5. I will not be surprised. And then I will not be surprised if Golden State gets blown out in Game 5. Because Toronto is going to come guns blazing. They're going to come guns blazing. They're going to have a whole country rooting for them to finish this series off tomorrow. And we're going to have a whole country in a frenzy seeing a team that's not in the United States win the NBA Finals. Man, I don't know. I don't know, man. And then Warriors fans, they're keeping all the hope in the world and making all these excuses. But it's okay. It's over. It's all right to admit it's over. It is over, man. It is really over. Like the way that Warriors fans walked out of Oracle Arena, the way they did in Game 4, that was just disgraceful. That was absolutely disgraceful. Do you know that this is the last season that you're gonna have Oracle Arena before they move to San Francisco? And this is how you do the Golden State Warriors? You don't deserve to have a championship won there. You don't deserve to have a championship won in the last season in Oracle. The Warriors deserve to lose in Game 5. Because the way that you walked out on them is just absolutely disgraceful. That was a disgrace. Raptor fans were louder than Warrior fans in Game 4. Like, come on. Like, come on, man. Like, it just that's the only thing it pained me to see. That's how you know that these are not real Warrior fans. That these are all bandwagon fans. Only these bandwagon fans would go and dip. It's like the 2013 Finals all over again. I'm watching the 2013 Finals, and I'm watching my Heat going up against the Spurs, and now I'm looking at the stands. I'm seeing people leaving, and I'm watching this on TV, and then right when the Heat tie it up, everybody wants to act like that they were there the whole time, and they want to try to get back in. Nah, you leave. You leave. That's it. I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to hear no excuses from Warrior fans either about when it comes to health and everything, because any other team that was dealing with health problems playing against Golden State, y'all be like, boo-hoo, deal with it. Now I'm telling you the same thing. Golden State dealing with health problems, boo-hoo, deal with it. Boo-hoo, deal with it. You're the two-time defending champions. Find a way to keep yourselves in the series, which I sincerely think that you've ran out of options. You ran out of options, so you're hoping and praying for Kevin Durant to be your holy savior. Like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if they say Kevin Durant's out for Game 5. Anyway, man, that's it. That's all. If by Game 5 that this series is over and the Toronto Raptors are NBA champions, now I'll most likely try to do 2 videos. I'll have an NBA rant video about how the Golden State Warriors are a very fake-ass dynasty, and I'll probably have another one congratulating the Toronto Raptors. But I just gotta mention one more thing. Just because I'm rooting for the Raptors in these finals, as soon as the season's over, I don't like the Raptors. Once the season's over, I'm be like, screw the Raptors. That's it. Just for these finals, I'm rooting for the Raptors. So Game 5, Raptors will be NBA champions. Kawhi Leonard will have a second ring and a finals MVP without having to jump on a 73-9 team, aka Kevin Durant. And yeah, that's all. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like basketball content. This is your boy Jay Varsity, and I am out. Peace.
We got some non-believers out there.
Make believers out of non-believers. Make believers out the overseers.